My very first Hollow Knight video for this channel was about assigning a charm from the game to every song on the game's soundtrack since there were about the same number of them. For this video, I'll be assigning a charm to each boss from the game since there are also about the same number. Some of my associations will be more direct while others will be more abstract. You could even make a challenge of fighting each boss in the Hall of Gods using only the charm I associate them with. Let's get into it. Grow's mother gets Gathering Swarm because her babies attack the knight in something of a swarm when they emerge from her. Vengefly King gets Long Nail since extra nail length is always helpful against flying enemies. Brooding Mollet gets Wayward Compass, as the charm can come in handy for finding the boss's location in the Forgotten Crossroads. False Knight gets Fragile Strength since he sought strength in the armor, which turned out to not be infallible, just like the charm. Failed Champion gets Unbreakable Strength since he is a stronger version of the False Knight, and Unbreakable Strength is a more resilient version of Fragile Strength. Hornet Protector gets Thorns of Agony since the charm is acquired in Green Path where she is fought. Hornet Sentinel gets Weaver Song, as Hornet has a connection to the Weavers who created the charm. Massive Moss Charger gets Shape of Un, since that boss's shape resembles that of the slug shape that the knight's body is transformed into by the charm. Fluke Mom gets Fluke Nest, the charm that is obtainable upon defeating her. The Mantis Lords get Mark of Pride for the same reason as the previous entry. Sisters of Battle get Dash Master, as they dash quite a bit during their fight. The Oblobbles get Lifeblood Heart since they fight together as a pair, and the charm grants a pair of Lifeblood Masks. The Hive Knight gets Hive Blood because that charm can be obtained upon defeating him. Broken Vessel gets Lifeblood Core, as the life seeds from which lifeblood is obtained are similar to the light seeds which fill the vessel's shell in order to create this boss. Lost Kin gets Glowing Womb, as the way that the charm spawns hatchlings is similar to how infected balloons spawn during this boss's fight. Nosk gets Sprint Master because it sprints across the screen during its fight. Winged Nosk gets Grubberfly's Elegy since the charm allows attacking from a distance, which is useful against flying enemies. The Collector gets Sharp Shadow, as both the boss and the charm are related to Void. God Tamer gets Stalwart Shell, as the beast that fights with her has its own hard shell. The Crystal Guardian gets Fragile Greed, since he is listed as the god of greed, and he is quite easy to defeat or break, like how the charm is breakable. Enraged Guardian gets Unbreakable Greed because he is a stronger version of Crystal Guardian, and Unbreakable Greed is a more resilient version of Fragile Greed. Umu gets Shaman Stone, as powerful spells make it easy to defeat Umu quickly. The Traitor Lord gets Heavy Blow since his attacks are quite heavy and powerful, just like the knockback from this charm. Soul Warrior gets Spell Twister, as both originate from the Soul Sanctum. Soul Master gets Soul Catcher, since collecting more soul like the charm allows for was his central goal. Soul Tyrant gets Soul Eater, since he is a more powerful version of Soul Master, and Soul Eater is something of a more powerful version of Soul Catcher. Dung Defender gets Defender's Crest, since the charm is collected upon defeating him. White Defender gets Unbreakable Heart because he is a heroic fighter and a stronger version of the Dung Defender, just as Unbreakable Heart is a more resilient version of Fragile Heart. The Watcher Knights get Balder Shell, as the shell conjured by the charm resembles their own shells. No Eyes gets Carefree Melody since she sings a melody of her own when she attacks. Marmu gets Grub Song because she looks a bit like the grubs. Zero gets Quick Focus since his attacks are both quick and, because they follow a set path, focused. Markoth gets Dream Shield since the shield conjured by the charm resembles the ones he uses in his fight. Galeon gets Fragile Heart since he is listed in the Hall of Gods as the god of heroic hearts, but he proved to be quite fragile himself when he was killed. Gorb gets Deep Focus since its attacks also follow a set focused path, and the act of focusing could be compared to ascending, which Gorb frequently proclaims. Elder Hu gets Spore Shroom because he is fought in the fungal wastes where the charm is acquired. Brothers Oro and Mato get Quick Slash as their attacks involve Well, quick slashing. Paintmaster Shio gets Joni's blessing, as its dripping lifeblood is reminiscent of his dripping paint. Great Nail Sage Sly gets Nailmaster's glory, since Sly gives the knight this charm. The Hollow Knight gets Steady Body, as both the charm and the Hollow Knight's chains are meant to hold one's body in place. Pure Vessel gets King Soul, as the two halves of that charm come from the vessel's parents, the White Lady and Pale King. Troopmaster Grimm gets Grimchild, as that charm is directly connected to him. Nightmare King Grimm gets Fury of the Fallen, as the red glow produced by the charm's effect resembles the red glow of the Nightmare King's attacks. The Radiance gets Dream Wielder, since she is the ruler of the Dream Realm. Absolute Radiance gets Void Heart because it allows the knight to be at their total power and defeat her, just as she is at her total power. That leaves Grey Prince Zode, and since there aren't any more charms, I'll associate him with the charm Notch, since Zode uses a variety of attacks and Zotelings, while a charm Notch allows for equipping a variety of charms. So what do you think? Do you agree with my choices? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. I've got plenty more Hollow Knight videos, so be sure to check those out if you haven't already. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.